Hi, today I want to teach you how to plan for retirement specifically with real estate. There's a lot of people out there that don't have a plan for when they retire, or if they want to retire early, they don't know how much money they need and what they need to do now in order to retire in 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is. They, um, they are generally wholly unprepared and don't have enough money in their accounts, and they really need to be able to make a plan so that when they retire, they have the money to be able to live the lifestyle that they want to live at that point. And I'm going to show you one specific method that I have learned um, over my course of being a CPA, watching a lot of other people practicing this through real estate. And it may not work for everybody, but if real estate doesn't work for you, I encourage you to find another vehicle to invest in that will provide results, that will get you to the point where you can retire comfortably and survive off of what you have. If that means you want to retire at 45, that's fine. If you want to retire at 65, that's fine also. But if you want to do it and properly and comfortably, you need to make a plan. So I'm going to show you one method that I've calculated and show you how to go ahead and calculate and figure out a way to plan for retirement. So this is a spreadsheet that I've worked on for quite a while, and I'll go over it with you and show you how it works and explain to you what the objective is over here. On the left hand side, there's a bunch of numbers that can be changed, and will change all the numbers on the right hand side. The goal of this is to make a plan to invest a certain amount every single year, which is your yearly investment right here, and at a certain loan to value, which means a loan to value is the percentage of the property that you're buying, the percentage that the bank will give you as a loan. So in residential, generally you can get an 80%, maybe even higher loan. In commercial, like warehousing or office space, generally it's more like 65 to 75%, depends on your credit. This is the cap rate expected. A cap rate is basically the percentage before interest and principal of income you'll make off the property from its purchase price. In other words, an 8 cap, which is what I have right here right now, is a property that will earn $8,000 on a $100,000 property every single year, and before principal and interest, so before your loan payment. And the reason why they do it before your loan payment is because obviously everybody has different credit, and this is an objective way of showing the value of a property to another investor or an interested party who wants to buy it. So, and there's a few other numbers over here: a vacancy rate expected, a first year investment vacancy because you buy the property and maybe it's empty, you need to do some work on it. So there's a vacancy expectation for that. And then the yearly property value increase, how much you expect the property to just grow in value over time, the years of the loan interest rate, the loan fees, and the other soft costs and other costs associated with closing the loan. And those numbers funnel into this side, which works as follows. It takes the investment. This is the first year, so it takes the investment of $25,000 that you said you could put in this year, and then this is the total investment, which is going to be the same for the first year. This is the amount of property that you can purchase with that $25,000 with the use of a loan. And then the loan amount is going to be the 122,000 less the 25,000, which gives you the 97,000, and that is your loan amount. Now the next line is the net income before debt service, which is the basically the cap rate. It's the cap rate less the vacancy rate expected, and less the first year percentage that you can expect not to be able to rent it because you're working on it or you're finding a tenant or whatever. And then there's the loan amount for that year, and then there's the net income after loan. And down here is the cumulative principal paid by the end of that year towards principal on the loan, which is a bonus because you're paying off your principal. It means you have more value in the property. And then this is the appreciation of the combination of the appreciation of that property and the principal paid. I actually think I need to change this number around a little bit. It needs to be fixed a bit, but you can get the idea. The next column is essentially the same investment. You're putting that 25,000 in year 2 as well, and on top of that you have net income from the first year, so you're going to use that as an investment as well. So in the second year you're going to have more money than you had the first year. Obviously every year, people save different amounts of money. You can't expect to have the same exact amount every year, but this is just for an example to show you what it could look like. So then on the second year you're going to have the total investment, which is this year plus this amount right here, and you get the total property purchase price for both years, for both properties. And you have a total loan amount here and the same thing, and then you see the net income is a lot more the second year because you have a property that's already rented. You don't have the yearly the first year vacancy amount, and all these numbers can be changed, of course. And then you have the cumulative principal paid, and then you have the total value of your investment, which is 52,000 plus the cumulative principal, and the appreciation of 5% year over year. It gets you $77,000. So you put in $50,000, and by year 2, the end of year 2, you will have, approximately that amount if these numbers stay true. And when you do that for 10 years, the numbers that you get at the end from that investment, you have 75,000 in net income. You have a net value of properties of 1.2 million, which is amazing. And the total value of the properties, which is, because you still have a loan due, your total value of the properties before appreciation is going to be 2.4 million, and then you're going to have some appreciation on top of that, but you'll still have a loan because you have a 30-year loan. This is actually based on a residential model. The numbers generally, this is a kind of a residential interest rate. This is a little bit of lower cap rate that you could probably get in another type of property, like a commercial office space or a warehouse. And down here is usually, you can get a residential loan. You can get it for a longer period, maybe 30 years. So it really depends on what you're doing. And you can change these numbers. And I'm going to show you now what happens when you change these numbers. So, and also these numbers depend. Somebody may be happy with making 75,000 at the end of this. Also with the prospect of maybe selling off some of these properties and then buying cheaper properties. There's all sorts of options in real estate. It could be more than 75,000, but that's just from an investment of 25,000. If the numbers stay to these numbers, in other words, you get that 80% loan to value, you get those loan interest rates of 3.75, you have a cap rate of 8%, you have a vacancy rate of 5%, all of that comes true, then that is what you'll be making a year from the properties at the end of 10 years. And obviously, maybe you have a 15-year plan. You could do it longer than that. It grows very quickly. And then especially once you start paying off the loans, then it even grows quicker. Now, let me show you what would happen if you somehow were able to invest $100,000 a year. This is really, really where we start getting to a sweet spot. I'm going to change it to $100,000 a year, but I'm not going to do it houses. I want to do an example of what it would look like if I'm buying warehouses or some other type of commercial building. So the interest rate would be probably more like, I mean, you can get it probably now about 5 since the interest rates, or maybe even lower since just interest rates are down, but they're going to go back up. So let's say 5.75, that's a normal number. You've been able to find that over the last couple of years. We have a yearly investment of $100,000. We have a loan to value on commercial properties. Realistically, you're not going to get, you might get 75%, but if you don't have really good credit and you don't have, the property is not perfect, the bank will probably come back and say 70. This is another thing. You could change this to 10% cap rate. I know if you look and you buy properties where you maybe going to fix them up a little bit, or it's missing a tenant, but you could find a tenant very quickly, maybe even before closing, you can get 10. You can even get 12% cap rates out there if you really do your homework. Let's bump up the vacancy rate for the first year to, let's say, 20%, and let's do a loan of 20 years. Now, you factor all that in, and at the end of 10 years, you are making, here's the numbers, you will have total investment to date, including the income from these years, you'll have 1.6 million, you'll have, and your investment on that last year, which is the 149,000 plus your 100,000 from that current year, will be $249,000. You'll have purchased total property value of 5.3 million, which will now hopefully be appreciated in value. Your loan amount on all that property at the beginning would be 3.6 million. And then your net before debt service will be 491,000. Your debt service will be 314,000, and your net income will be $177,000. Which, at that point, if you could probably retire and then live off of, let's say, $120,000 and maybe buy another property, or take some of the first property you bought and sell them at a higher value and buy a property that you can make some value out of. All sorts of options. And down here is really where the magic happens. This is going to be your value, your total investment, which is the 1.6 million, plus it's going to be the appreciation at 5% of those properties over the 10 years, plus all the principal, the $560,000 in principal that you paid off from the loans. And so you will have a net worth of 3.4 million, and you'll be earning $177,000 a year, which to me, I could retire off of that right now if you gave me that. And I'd love to do that. And it should be your goal to do something like that. If you have the capacity to go out there and do this, I highly recommend it. Real estate is by far the best investment for tax reasons, for just generating income reasons. If you do your homework and you find good properties, they're out there, they're always out there. There's always somebody who has to sell. There's always a deal to be had, whether it's somebody who doesn't want to take care of a property that needs work, whether it's somebody who needs to get out of a property, their business is not doing well and they want to sell it, or they want to retire and they just, and they're going to take your offer. And your offer allows you to get that sweet 10, 12 cap property. and you have the money and you've saved the money and you've been diligent and saved the money to go ahead and buy that property, go for it. It's one of the best ways to build wealth and retire early, or retire just comfortably, is to buy real estate. Not necessarily buy a ton of real estate, just buy what you need. I'll show you a different scenario. You do, let's say, 50,000, and let's say we change the cap rate to, I don't know, 12. You're really diligent. You wait for that good deal. That's similar numbers, and you get $180,000. Although your value of the properties is not going to be as much, you're netting $180,000 off of half the amount of investment up front. So you really gotta, I am warning you. I'm a CPA. I've been doing accounting for real estate. It's not a get rich quick scheme. Buying properties, it takes a minimum of a few months' work to find, close on it, make sure everything's right, do the inspections, deal with the problems from the inspections, counter offer, do the construction. Then you probably have to do construction after you do some work on the property afterwards. Then you have to deal with tenants. But if you're okay with that and you are diligent about saving, this is a very good plan. And if you need help implementing it, please write me a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts, hear your questions, answer them. If you have any other questions that you'd like me to make a video, this is a very, very big topic. If you didn't understand a certain aspect, maybe you didn't understand, the net before debt service, the cap rate, and how that works, or, what types of properties should you be buying, I can make another video about that. If you like this video, please subscribe. I will be, if I can, I will upload a lot more videos. Tell me what you want to see in the comments. Ask your questions. Give me a like, and thanks for watching. And hope you have a great day.